Hi again. The full moon has passed. Not completely. I mean, it's a really full moon tonight, but the full moon was this morning around 3 a.m. And because I am somebody who's sensitive to migraines, this is not why, but I just had a migraine. And I have noticed in my not very scientific documentation of when I get migraines that they sometimes are a little bit more pronounced for me around full moons. So that was what was going on for me. And despite my plans, my intentions, my desires, I felt myself slowing down. And up to this full moon, I was feeling the wheels of doing happening for me. This past weekend was almost an elation type feeling around getting my living room floor laid down. Been living on very adequate subflooring for many, many years since that space was built, and with a rug over top of it. And I'm kind of okay with it until I made that push, the decision that I was worth having a living room floor, or I wanted to have a living room floor. I wanted the feeling of what could it feel like to have this space be more complete. I don't know. I mean, in Maine, it's not that uncommon, or maybe it's just the socioeconomic bracket I find myself in, but it's not that uncommon for many of us to live in partially finished spaces that it didn't really feel that off, that my space wasn't fully complete. Certainly there's some of us who only fully complete our homes right before we sell them. And I didn't want that to be the case for me. I wanted to finish the floor and see if I could do it. And with the help of my children and Jason, we're able to get a beautiful floor laid down. I'm telling you this because that has been that feeling of momentum for, I don't know, ever since my separation and then divorce. That was sort of on my plate, like, oh, now I've got to finish the floor. Now it's on me. And that has been, can I count? I was divorced in 2019. And so that is 7 years. It's been 7 years where it has felt like entirely my responsibility to complete that project. Not blaming, just saying that's the truth. So for 7 years, it wasn't urgent. And then all of a sudden there was this momentum for me, like, okay, now's the time. I'm going to do it now. And that was the momentum up until this full moon of things are starting, gears are turning for me. Things are happening. And the full moon came and it kind of like, not slowing things down, not changing trajectories, just a feeling of holding a lot at once. Full moons are always like this. So the question I have around this full moon is, what is my and your, I always want to say your, what is your capacity? Can you hold more? Can you keep your arms wide open and see how much you can hold, and how you can hold things in ways that are different than you expected, and how you can open yourself compassionately and hold something in a way that you haven't really considered before. That's what this moon is about. Being full to capacity. So, what is going on anyway? Hi and welcome back. I'm your host, Anne Headley. And this is my podcast, What is Going On Anyway, where I use my intuition and my imagination to share a story about this moment and to offer guidance. This is the place where I contemplate the current moon, new or full, this time full, and what that means for me as a pathway through daily life. I wonder how universal themes show up for us through different seasons and moons. And as I reach for meaning to share with you, I discover a richness in the simplicity of paying attention to life as it is and to speaking it out loud this way. Thanks for being here. And I want to consider with this moon the idea of capacity. And as a definition, it's the maximum amount that something can contain, and that something being you. And the way that we contain things is in a multitude of ways. And what we know about ourselves is that when we are well and when we are rested, we can hold more. And so it turns us back towards, and I'm not saying that working at maximum capacity is what we're trying to do. I'm just saying it's time, or this moon asks the question, what is your capacity? And do you have space in you to hold the events of the world with a greater awareness and a greater compassion by doing it differently? So sometimes the stuff that's going on in the world can incite a sort of urgency and a what am I going to do about it when there's not something direct to be able to do about it. And in that case, there's a moment for a kind of response. And sometimes we respond by fighting with people that also have no capacity for action, in direct action. And it can spiral because there's an urgency to solve, fix, or change something that is quite far away from ourselves. So even in our own very personal lives, there are sometimes things that there's nothing we can do about it actively. There's nothing that we can do to create change in the moment. But I suspect, I intuit that there is some capacity that we have inside of us to hold space for benevolent outcomes and do it as if we're in full recognition that the way we think about a thing matters as much as anything else. It matters as much as what we do about anything. And this goes back to something that I don't remember which podcast it was, but it seemed very clear with that podcast before that it matters so clearly what we think that negative thinking will be in the future thought about the way that we think about smoking as a detrimental, harmful, addictive behavior. So again, this full moon that stretches you out wide open, how much can you hold? How do you care for the vessel of your awareness? How do you care for your body that holds your awareness so that you can keep expanding and holding space for the world that you would like? The end. I think that's it, really. I mean, I'm kind of joking because I usually talk for about a half an hour, but I'm going to go straight to oracles because that's all I've got. All I have is to consider and think about capacity and to remember how important your thoughts are. Imagine that you're broadcasting your thoughts just like I'm broadcasting this podcast, that what you think matters. What you think matters. And your feelings are your own. I mean, your feelings, of course, are shared, but the thinking has a powerful trajectory, or it has this like outward like a radio wave. But your feelings stay with your physical body, and it gives you a chance to process, and it gives you a chance to ground into your body, into this moment now, to your location on earth. So, sometimes we use our thinking to get out of our feelings, but I'm seeing those two things really working together like a factory. I don't like to use that word, but can we just use it like playfully? I'm seeing it kind of working like a factory, that we use our thinking as a way of communicating and reaching out and connecting to other people, sort of like the way we would use our phone, but we use our thinking as a kind of technology. And then our feeling is the way that we process some of the intensity of thinking that carefully, clearly, directly. And then we use our feelings to stay where we are, stay connected to the earth where we are, which seems like an essential component of being able to connect, let's just say telepathically, with other people. Okay, how's that landing for you? Oh. I didn't want to record this while my headache was really front and center. I needed a little bit more time, and it's now sort of, I'm on the downward slide it's like a slide out of the migraine. It's not so bad. And I think I know why I needed to wait, even though I was kind of giving myself a hard time about it. Because there's something about this moon that's asking for ease. It's asking for doing it the way that works best for you. So there's a lot of protests coming up. There's a lot of stuff going on this coming weekend. And I would say if you're trying to figure out what you want to do and how you want to do it, I would use this technique of waiting for the moment, the window, and the space to open for you, and letting yourself realize, not give yourself a hard time like me, but letting yourself realize that the intelligence of your body will help you decide where you want to be, when you want to be there, and how you want to participate with all of this really interesting activity that's going on, whether you're going to a pride parade or you're involved in a protest or you're meeting with friends and you're creating a celebration of the season together. Okay, let's reach in. I want to use a bunch of oracles today, and I'm going to use some cards and, of course, the I Ching. Let's go. Okay, so the first deck that I'm using is The Answer is Simple by Sonia Choquette. I like these because you don't necessarily have to read the interpretation, but this time I'm going to. I always know when I pull one and I just kind of want to put it away right away that it's kind of important, that I'm like, it's a little bit of a shining light on it. So I got Detox. It is like a martini glass with grass coming out of it. That's the picture that I see here. The ego accumulates negativity and holds on to it for a long time. And I know for myself, I can feel that. So I want you to think about the ego as the I former. Ahankara is the Sanskrit word, the thing that forms the I, or the identity. And when you think about it that way, I always think about it like we're making ourselves out of clay. We're saying, oh, that's me. Like I take a lump of the female clay and I stick it on and I say, I am a female. And I take the lump of the name Anne and I stick it on myself and I am Anne. And a lump of the I am in this family and these are my siblings and that is my identity and I'm a dancer and I stick that on. And then when things shift for us, I become a different kind of dancer, I kind of have to get back into my identity and re-sculpt that. This has changed. How am I going to take some of this out and put some others on? Because it's a constant reforming of the egoic I, which is completely necessary because it is the ego, after all, that is our great guardian of our physical existence. That for whatever reason, we're here in a body separate from all the other people in their bodies, and the ego is part of the mechanism of keeping us separated. So it's like we need to be flexible about how we form our identity so that we can shift as we need to. Be, shapeshifters. So this first line is the ego accumulates negativity and holds on to it for a long time. And it sure does, right? This is hard for us. And I do need to read this interpretation, but I just want to say one more thing, which is holding on to negativity in the ego. It's complicated because it makes us dense, like just materially dense in some ways. And so when we need to get really flexible and change our thinking, and we want to get flexible and send our thinking and join groups of other people, we kind of need to lighten up a bit in order to do these kinds of things, to believe in these kinds of connections, and to create the way of being on earth that is not so destructive. Okay, back to the interpretation. Negativity settles into the mind and body as destructive patterns, attitudes, behaviors, habits, and feelings. The more negativity you amass and absorb, the more difficult it is to sense or see the light of your spirit. It's time to detox from all of this negativity, to clear the inner light and let it shine once again. Start by cleansing your body. Stop eating heavy foods, sugar, and white flour, or using alcohol, tobacco, and other known toxins for the next few days. Okay, next few days. These foods and substances tax your system and place a burden on you, dimming the light of your spirit. It's also time to eliminate other toxic elements in your life as well. Are your conversations toxic? Are your habits? Is your thinking? How about your associations? If you aren't sure, ask your spirit and then feel the vibration of your answer. Harmful substances, behaviors, and associations drain your energy and leave you feeling stressed and sick. They suck the light and joy out of you, making you fatigued, depressed, and unmotivated. Just as you wouldn't stay in a room filled with nuclear waste, don't wallow in the psychic toxic energy of your life any further. I'm just going to say, sometimes we don't really see it very clearly. Like, also give yourself a break. Your spirit deserves better, and your inner light can no longer be felt in such negative circumstances. Detox from those elements that harm your spirit before you get sick, become demoralized, or lose your energy. Yes, it takes discipline. Find the resolve to do this and quit postponing it. Seek help if you must. It's there for the asking. You're at a saturation point of negativity and can't experience peace until you clear away the pollution. I do think there's something in this card for this moon that I'm trying to bring to the table, which is, as we want to have peace on earth, we also have to have peace inside of us. And it seems so obvious, and it is quite challenging, but it takes some deliberate practice. And look, if you don't want to go off sugar, that one, that was my whole life, was like sugar was the devil. And maybe it is, but that if you just stopped eating sugar, then you would become, an angelic being. And I think there's just a lot to it. So I think there's a lot of ways to lighten up and be kind to yourself. And a lot of times when you're really kind to yourself, you also make good choices around the other things that feel like sometimes you choose different sorts of media to participate in, or different TV shows to watch, or different books to read, or different conversations to have. Some of the most important conversations are the ones that you have privately with yourself, and those are the most challenging. That's where it feels like taking a drag on a cigarette, unless you've never smoked, and then that's when it feels like you're, sneaking the jelly beans. Not everybody likes jelly beans. Just some kind of, or taking a secret drink or something like that. Just be kinder to yourself. Don't say those mean things. Don't look at yourself poorly. And if you have a habit of looking at yourself in the mirror and being like, ooh, 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 or yuck, 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 or whatever, try not this just said for 3 days. So try for 3 days to actually just not look in a mirror or cover up your mirrors. Just put a scarf over your mirrors and just see what it's like to not have that interaction for a little while. Just close it down. Okay, I like that card after all. And let's find, this one is from the Healing Mantra deck. So that's what we want to move away from. Maybe the Healing Mantra deck can give us something that helps us to repeat something that helps at this time. So just a sec for that one. Ooh, I was not expecting this one. I have a right to be excited. I have a right to be excited. And the flip side of the card is embodying my soul. And maybe for you, like me, there's a couple of things in your life that you feel excitement around, and maybe it's kind of an anticipatory excitement. And sometimes when we feel that kind of joy of what could be, or what you're creating, or what's kind of around you right now, even if it's just the season that's around you, that sometimes we tone that down, or we shut that down, that excitement, because we think that we're gonna, what would you say, invite disappointment if we experience excitement. And I wonder if this is showing us right now that it's okay to be excited for a peaceful new world and what that might mean for you inside of your own heart. And I'd like to read the interpretation for this one too. When your soul is embodied, you are grateful to be alive. You are aware of life as a precious opportunity to experience the frequency of your own light through the unique attributes, characteristics, and senses of a person. As your soul becomes embodied, you are elated to be a part of life's cosmic play, no matter how bad things seem. This mantra is ideal for developing courage, finding your inner voice, and feeling safe in your body. And I think that's something, when we see conflict in the world, we see genocide happening, we see people's rights being taken away from them. We have this sense of not feeling safe in our bodies. And I think developing that inside of our own selves and offering that compassionately out to others in a non-physical way may be a good move right now. So let's see what the I Ching has for us. What would you have us know for this full moon and the next 2-week cycle? And we get hexagram 56, traveling. Also the wanderer and sojourning at the borders and quest. The question to ask: what do you bring with you into each new situation? And what does this place ask of you? The traveler is on a journey of their own, just passing through this place and staying for a while. To be the traveler means you are not at home here. You know you don't belong. And can I just say, don't you feel that way sometimes? Like this world is not for me. This way of doing things is not for me. Maybe we're travelers here, just passing through to this next 1,000 years of peace. That I'm just traveling into that place. I don't belong here. Also, you have a strong personal direction. Wherever you find yourself for now, you know it does not define you. Since you are only passing through, your creative involvement is limited. You can have the small success of being well received if you fit in responsively, rather than dancing your own dance regardless of where you are. You cannot expect to change your surroundings, and nor should your surroundings change you. It is good to be constant to your own way as you travel. It can be difficult to balance this, to keep, to be true to yourself, and still fit into a place that is not your own. So this is honoring or validating that this is not an easy time, and that there is something to be constant to inside of ourselves as we're flexible on the outside, as we travel through this time. And maybe this is a little bit of a waiting time. This is from another book. This could be a phase in your life when you are making an inner voyage, exploring new ideas, fantasizing new experiences, perhaps a new career or a new role. It may be that you see mundane day-to-day situations in a strange new light. If this is not a passing mood, it could mark the beginning of an identity crisis. Whatever is up, hold to your integrity. It may become your lighthouse in the sea of the unknown. All of this moves to hexagram 16, which I believe we've gotten before, enthusiasm. What do you imagine? What inspires you? How can you use your enthusiasm constructively? And I think of the word enthusiasm. I think I pulled this up. The state or process of taking pleasure in something, the action of possessing and benefiting from something, is using the word enthusiasm as a way of being filled with this feeling that it's connected to your integrity. And it has a sense when you feel true enthusiasm, there's a kind of joy and there's a kind of momentum behind that. So moving into enthusiasm for that which you do truly care about, and imagining, envisioning, daydreaming a world that includes your full integrity and a place for you. This moving towards enthusiasm starts inside of us. It starts with our imagination. And it starts with cultivating feelings where you can find that. Sometimes it just means having a conversation with a friend that makes you laugh, and you can feel that enthusiasm, that joy, that integrity filling you. So the state or process of taking pleasure in something, we really need to practice that right now. Okay, friends, that's it for me. I am so glad that you were here with me. We've got some enthusiasm to look forward to. We have moments of really caring for our physicality as we widen into a fuller capacity and a new way of holding things that are hard. Good luck. What happens for me often is that the full moon starts to soften and shrink a little bit. And as we move into that new moon, it's almost like I can feel myself focusing, like with a telescope or a microscope or camera. Things start to focus as I move into the new moon. And I hope that happens for us here. This wide open space holding a lot. It is heavy and it strengthens us, but it is nice to have a little relief too. So I wish you good sleep, good food, peaceful thoughts, peaceful mind. Until next time, may you be well, may you know peace, and may all beings everywhere, whether known to us or unknown, may they be well, and may they know peace. As always, you can reach out to me via my website, www.annheadley.com. And you can find me on Patreon, www.patreon.com/watermoonstudios. Okay, bye for now.